Entering the box. All right, today we are back with my I consider you a friend, I think.
Yeah.
Mike. Do you like to go by Mike or Michael?
I answer to both.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just know you always
preference.
have Michael like in everything I see, and I'm like, maybe I need to make sure I'm calling him Michael, but it seems weird to say the full name.
yeah. No, never had a preference. So.
Yeah, Michael's here as well. Is with Express. What is it? Express
Employment Professionals. Yeah. Years ago, it was Express Personnel, and some people still call us Express Personnel, but yeah, it's Express Employment Professionals.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Mike, yeah, I wanted to have you on one because obviously it's kind of interesting what you guys do, and I think it'd be good to kind of share how that works and everything.
Sure.
So I know I was very curious about it with my business getting started. And two, man, I just appreciate that, like, I hardly even knew you when we first started talking, and you've just always been super supportive of everything we do, and I just think that I really appreciate that. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Thanks. Well, appreciate you having me on for sure. Brought you a gift. So,
a gift?
Yeah.
For little old me?
A little gift, a little bag from Express, and a couple items inside there. And
nice.
Yeah, I can't remember where we first met, but as far as the support, I just, appreciate your spirit and your creativity and stuff. So just always wanted to try to support you anywhere I can. And, I love it.
Goodies in here, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't get many gifts on here. I'm going to start making that a requirement.
There you go.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. You've always been a super nice guy, man. I just, some people, it's actually kind of like Steve, you know what I mean? I just I just really like those guys. I don't know. They're just super nice. Always trying to be supportive. And sometimes I feel like I feel like I have to step my game up on it.
Sure. Yeah, I've had a lot of good mentors in my life, people that's kind of modeled that for me throughout my professional and personal life. So, always something better to strive for and something to work on and improve. But, the old saying holds true: treat people how you want to be treated, and sometimes it takes a little while for that to be reciprocated, but that's always the energy I try to put out. So yeah.
Do you know who Gary Vee is?
Yeah.
He always talks about giving,
sure.
You know what I mean, giving and not ever expecting anything.
Yeah, no expectations.
And honestly, for some reason, when I in meeting just a lot of the people I have between you, Steve, Cilsus, and just stuff like that, I'm like, I kind of feel like that, these people are really going to by that, even though they don't know they are. But
yeah. Well, Zig Ziglar is somebody that I've kind of learned from and read about. And years ago, I remember reading something he put out: if you help enough other people get what they really want, you'll get what you really want. And I've just always kind of tried to apply that, whether that's just being kind to somebody, right? So yeah, cool that you recognize that and appreciate that. And we feel the same way about you and Ootbox. It's been a great partnership for us over at cilsus, and love what you guys do. So it's been a good match.
I've enjoyed being part of it. And you're on the board at cilsus, right? Do you have an official position on the board?
No, just a board where we're all volunteers, and we just want to help and work to make Springfield the friendliest city in the world. And kind of our tagline, "Smilier in Springfield." So
I like it.
Yeah.
And for those that didn't catch the podcast with Steve, cilsus is the Central Illinois Customer Service Association.
You got it. Yeah.
Great group of people. So definitely look into that. What is cilsus-Springfield? Is that the website?
Yeah.
CILCSA-Springfield. For some reason, that always gets me.
Yeah, a lot of times if you just type in customer service, Springfield, Illinois, it'll come up in the Google search. Yeah. It was, it's 7 years old now, and started, with Steve and some other folks, Mike Pence, and some other folks over at BOS, Scott Dow from Visit Springfield. And it was part of a national chapter. And, some of the things they were doing just didn't really align with our local kind of culture and market here. So they decided to start their own independent group. And
interesting.
Yeah. So here we are.
How'd you get involved?
Express has been a member since the beginning, I believe. And I joined Express 4 years ago. And The first year, I was just an active member at cilsus, going to the events and getting to know the group and whatnot. And some things changed with the board, and a position became available, and they approached me and asked me if I'd be interested. And
cool.
At that time, like I said, I was already an active member and attending, so I quickly said yes.
Nice.
And I'm glad I have. So.
Yeah, no, I've really enjoyed being a part of that group and meeting everybody. What's your actual title at Express?
Yeah, business relationship manager.
Okay, so perfect. Goes hand in hand a little bit.
Yeah. When I first started, so Express is an international chain. There's 866 offices.
Wow.
Franchise system, so typically a husband and wife outfit, right? Our franchise partners own Springfield, Jacksonville, and Bloomington.
Gotcha.
And it's outside sales, essentially, is the kind of the idea. So they had a kind of a generic title, if you will, area manager, and it was kind of confusing because do you manage an area? Like, what does that mean? And the more I grew into the role and kind of got acclimated with the community, it's like it's about relationships and helping businesses. And so I created my own title.
There you go.
They let me do it. So that's been my title.
I think that's how it was when I was at Ace. It was kind of like that. I just I was senior national accounts manager.
Yeah,
because I had a couple people under me, so I was like, well, we got to throw the senior in
that's
there.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
No, titles are always weird to try to come up with, especially here because we all wear so many hats.
Sure.
Like, look, Ryan over here, he's been ads manager, content creator, is managing, producing the podcast. Like, what are we giving you for a title here?
I heard him talking to Nova, dog whisperer. We can add dog whisperer.
There you go.
Yeah, so at Express, as business relationship manager, I have a colleague, my direct supervisor, Don Adams. Basically, we split Springfield. He's responsible for one side of Springfield. I'm responsible for the other. And we just look to build relationships with companies, really understand their business and the needs they have related to staffing and how we can help. And then, all those relationships look different. Sometimes we are able to offer some training and some development, some different resources. Being a part of an international group, we have a lot of marketing materials, a lot of different resources and trainings at our disposal. So we're able to.
Do you get much with like people relocating?
Oh yeah.
I guess maybe give a quick breakdown of what Express is and just like a.
Yeah, so Express as a whole, we help companies hire staffing at all levels, from general labor, entry-level workers, all the way up to the C-suite. At my office, we have different teams and recruiters that specialize in specific skill sets. We really have something for everybody. So any type of job you can think of, from general labor outside, helping with a landscaping company, all the way to your executive CFOs, accounting and finance,
Gotcha.
executive directors.
Nice.
It's a great company, great opportunity. We get to help a lot of people. To the point you were making, the outside, that is one of the outside of the resources and the tools we have through the international franchise system. We also do get those referrals, people that have worked with an office in a different market and are new to the area, and we're a lot of times the first person they meet with. So we do get access to new talent on a regular basis, people moving into the area.
Yeah.
As we know, it's no secret, unfortunately, there's not a lot of people moving into Illinois.
Right.
More people moving out. So that's whatever, but
it helps make what you guys doing even more important.
Yeah, a lot of times we get access to the individuals before they even get here. So they'll be in communications with myself or somebody from my team, weeks or sometimes months ahead of their actual move. And we'll have them interview set up and ready to go by the time they get here. Sometimes those happen before they get here virtually, it's a neat system. Get to help a lot of people.
Yeah, that's crazy. So how does someone go about that? Like a business just reach out, like, I'm looking for these roles.
Yeah. So a company can, find me on LinkedIn or call the office. We really like to invest time on the front end, again, trying to understand that company and really get a clear understanding of what they're looking for. We're not that company that just throws a body or throws an individual at you and, fingers crossed, hopefully it works. Because we found if we invest that time on the front end to really spend 15 or 20 minutes getting to know that position and understand how, because what we found over the years is I may call them a general labor, you may call them a general labor, but you use them differently than I do, right? So companies can have the same job title for an individual, but have different functions of that job, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we really invest that time on the front end. It's a no charge kind of consultation, right? We like to consult with that company. Make sure it's something we can do also. We don't ever want to, just sign up for something without knowing if it's in our wheelhouse. Once we have a good understanding of that position, we're then at a point where we can discuss what that's going to cost for us to take care of it for you. We have 7 different ways we can help companies hire, whether it's a temporary need where, they just truly have a project they need put together and they need some extra hands. We can help with that. We have an evaluation hire where it's a predetermined amount of time to where you get to experience the applicant gets to experience you. We're the employer of record. We're covering work comp, state and federal tax. All of our costs are associated with that bill rate. So you're just paying a premium on that hourly rate.
Gotcha. You don't have to deal with all the other stuff.
No red tape for you. If it's not a good fit, you're insulated from all the risk. And again, you're not committing to that individual right off the bat. So it kind of gives you an extra probation period, if you will. And then we also have a direct hire scenario where we become that traditional headhunter, if you will, and just go out to the marketplace and try to match the skills, qualities, and experience that you're looking for in talent. We'll then produce some finalists, and you get to interview them, make your decision, and there's a fee associated with that. So,
is that like a predetermined thing? Like you discuss what kind of fee it is, or just depend on how much goes into it? Or
it's predetermined. We never stop recruiting, so it's not like we're starting a recruiting action when we engage a company. We're always looking for good people. So though we don't have blanket pricing, typically it's on a direct hire scenario, it's 20 to 30% of that first year expected salary, depending on what that pay scale is. Yeah. And that looks different. And then on the hourly, like the contract work, if you will, a lot of that is the work comp. Illinois is one of the states that has a higher work comp. Yeah. Typically. So, and then state and federal tax, again, Illinois is kind of higher on the tax side. And then there's a little bit left over for us in that contract work.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Gotta make some money somewhere.
We're not non-for-profit.
Putting the work in.
But to your point about, it's challenging. We do it professionally all day, every day. I have a team of 30. We're always talking to people, and it's hard to find people right now.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, that's like I said. That's kind of one of the reasons too. Just wanted to have you on because it is interesting out there. What are you finding? Is you just don't have a lot of people like giving you resumes to like that they want to work, or is it just not quality people, or what?
A little bit of everything. So earlier we alluded to the fact, there's a lot of individuals that have left the good state of Illinois, right? So that doesn't help matters, the numbers.
Population
COVID came and it's changed a lot in the landscape of, our personal lives as well as the workforce. Individuals know there's options. So that's another thing. I feel like the hospitality and the restaurant industries probably have been feeling it the worst, had the kind of worst experience with talent in the workforce right now. When COVID hit, a lot of those were forced to close, which sent people away. And a lot of those individuals may never come back to that sector, right? So what did they do? A lot of them discovered I can make just as much money, if not more money, doing Uber, DoorDash, Instacart, whatever that may be. Yeah. Make just as much money, if not more, not have to be micromanaged or work for the man, right? And they're able to survive and do it on their own time. They're set their own schedule. So that's part of it. The other thing, when COVID hit and it sent everybody home, that opened up kind of free reign for all the companies nationally to begin to recruit. So what's happened here locally,
working from home,
you got it. Yeah. So now, like an East Coast company is able to pay an East Coast wage to a Central Illinois candidate, and locally we can't compete with that on a local level. So some of these remote customer service or insurance review, whatever that remote position may be, they're making $5, $6, $7, dollars above the premium here. So individuals just have a lot of options right now. It's super competitive. So those kind of all play into that. The other thing, and not that it's wrong by any means, COVID, again, that stimulus came it gave individuals an opportunity to kind of take a leap and start their own thing, an entrepreneur, right? They had a little bit of startup money now with the stimulus. So we've seen a lot of that where, you meet with a candidate and they might be looking for something part-time, and you're trying to uncover what else you got going on. And they have an online business now, or they have a food truck, or, whatever it is. And so all those reasons, and I get asked a lot, what can I do to get people? There's no formula. There's no clear path. You got to do a lot right now to find individuals. At Express, we do that a number of ways. A lot of activity in the community with job fairs. When COVID hit, we really stopped selling, if you will, and started focusing on the relationships that we have established and the ones that maybe we don't have established with schools and churches and not-for-profits, organizations that already serve people. Yeah. Right. And we partnered with a lot of those, and it's been a great partnership for us. Right today, this morning, I looked, just kind of preparing for the podcast because I figured we'd probably get here eventually. Yeah. We have just over 550 people working contractually in the community. Wow. At about 110 different companies. But with that said,
110. Wow.
Yeah. That's crazy. So any given year, that 12-month calendar year, we work with just about 300 companies. But like I said, 110, 115, maybe even 120 on a consistent basis, which makes us in the top 10 largest employers in Sangamon County. Right? Yeah. So, but yeah, 550 people working at 110 different companies.
That's crazy.
I could still take 200 more people if you have them. So.
Looking for people over here. Yeah.
Yeah, always looking for good people.
What are some of the most actively needed or seeked jobs?
Yeah, all the manufacturers in town, they haven't slowed down really. If anything else, they've gotten busy. It's been interesting to see. Even us included at Express, we've been busy as ever. Actually, we came off a record year last year. We're in high demand, right? Yeah. Companies need people. Well, the same thing has been said for the companies we serve. Like any manufacturer you can think of in town, we work with usually. And needs for their products, right, is through the roof, which requires more hands to meet the quotas and everything. So a lot of manufacturing jobs. As far as biggest needs, skilled trades, it seems like even pre-COVID, the welders, the carpenters, the maintenance people. And I think it's just, we have a generation that really have figured out that they haven't really pursued that, right? So even like CDL drivers, such a huge need for CDL drivers.
It's interesting because, I think there's a lot more talk starting to happen about how everyone always pushed college forever, but then recently it seems like you've started to hear more about you could make a lot of money as a skilled trade, person, and you can. I'm amazed at what they get paid. Some of them per hour. I'm like, holy crap! Yeah, but you know what I mean. We need those people.
Plumbers, electricians. Yeah, it's huge. Accounting and finance. We always have a need for accountants, good accountants, finance people, bookkeepers. Again, as these jobs become available, not only is there a huge need for people, but there's also a lot of people retiring and taking early retirement. So just a lot of movement in the workforce. COVID accelerated a lot of that.
I was going to say, did you see, I was just thinking that, I was like, I can imagine probably a lot of people that might have been holding off on retiring or something just went ahead and time to retire.
Why not? Perfect time, right? All this change. And I always try to get to the silver lining. As bad as COVID was, it also opened up some great doors for individuals. Had COVID not happened, there's some people, and some of those people we were able to help through Express, right, that would have continued with their head down at a dead-end job, not dead-end, but maybe a job where they were underpaid, undervalued, underutilized. COVID hit, all this buzz about jobs, they got curious. And, we were able to help place those people in some new jobs where they're happy and fulfilled and, maybe they got a little bit more money, some more vacation time, whatever it is, right? Because typically that's what it is for us, especially these last several years. There's not a lot of unemployed people. Most people are looking to upgrade, or to swap up, right? Looking for something better. That's kind of how I got to Express. I was in retail management and, there was weeks where I was working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. And my mentor is friends with the owner and, connected us. And the rest is history.
Yeah.
They ended up keeping me. But like I said, most of the conversations my recruiters are having with applicants, they're employed individuals. And we know, okay, if we get something that matches what you're looking for, you'll take a call. And, obviously we help them put in their notice and talk them through that, so.
Do you guys ever do any consultation with businesses? I know with myself personally, like starting a business, trying to decide how to, pay and benefits and how to structure things. It was always, I've had to do a lot of research, a lot of trying to figure it out, like this or that, like what's this position need to earn? What do I need to give here? And I feel like you guys obviously probably have a ton of data that backs that kind of stuff up. I just didn't know if that was like an avenue of your business at all.
Can we do? Yes. We have to be careful what we commit to, because that's not our lane, right? But curious. We've done everything from helping companies start up to manager trainings to HR trainings, safety trainings. I mean, we can do about anything in the realm of employment and business.
I guess if someone's like, I need to hire these people, is it like, and they're like, this is what I want to pay? Do you guys in turn sometimes like, well, we see this actually getting paid regularly. It might be a challenge to find somebody in that range.
Absolutely, yeah, on a daily basis. Right before, at 2:30, I had an appointment. It was one of those where he was hoping to pay $14 an hour. And right now in this market, Illinois minimum wage is $12, but really in the market, you're 14, 15, 16, and I'm talking basic entry level minimal skill. And that's just to get somebody to show up because there's so many opportunities right now. And some of that is skewed because it's not all real, right? So what's happened with the workforce is we've all heard restaurants paying 16, 18. Sometimes them are part-time jobs, right? The advertising getting people in the door. Right. But what's happened to the workforce, if I'm an entry-level individual, I hear that. Now in my mind, I'm convinced I'm worth, if they're making 16 at McDonald's, then I must be worth 20. Yeah. Not always the case. Right. But so sometimes.
Also kind of depends on like what the future of the job, at a restaurant, there's only so far you can go.
That's
and
right.
Even if you come in getting paid that, but sometimes it's better to start with a little bit lower for the upside that's available.
Yeah. But so that's a daily conversation for us, Andrew, is just helping companies understand, that you maybe 2 years ago you could have paid that, but really right now these are, because that's part of our process. So as individuals are applying with us, or we're tapping them on the shoulder, we're finding them on LinkedIn, on the job boards, wherever we're engaging applicants at. That's part of our onboarding is we're asking individuals, what are you hoping to make, high end, low end? So we're trying to uncover that and then match that up against jobs we have, which in turn allows us to advocate to them with those companies about the market and our pool of people. If you're wanting to pay somebody minimum wage, we're probably not going to be your best bet just because I'm not having success at minimum wage. I'm getting individuals that won't show up for jobs, walk off at lunch. That's just the pool in that pay range. It's been interesting, even pre-COVID, like the pool for truly like part-time temporary labor, if you will, it's been shrinking. Now it's almost non-existent. Most people are needing a higher rate, and also they want to know about the benefit packages. Yeah. So the companies that are really winning, if you will, right now are figuring out ways to really educate and sell on the front end their total compensation. And when I say compensation, I mean everything from your 401k, your retirement, and any other incentives or perks you have as an employer, because that's the selling point. Yeah. And those are the things that are able to not only help companies attract but also retain top talent right now.
Do you notice it's ever hard for like a potential employee to recognize like looking at a job offer as more than just like the hourly? You know what I mean? Like what, or the salary, like looking like, okay, yeah, you're only making 15 an hour, but you're getting all this, all this and all this and all this and all this. And when you really look, you know what I mean? Yeah. I could see that could be hard for somebody to really recognize.
Yeah, it depends on, the individual's level of education in some cases, what they've been exposed to, and really what's the reason why they're looking for a job, right? Because as smart as that can be for some people to factor in all that, other people just need to know, I need to find a job where I can make the most hourly rate right now because matter of fact, my bills are past due. So really it just depends on that demo, whoever you're talking to. Even pre-COVID, I just think about like the different generations in the workforce, right? What's important to one's not important to the other. There's some people that still, they don't care about the retirement and the 401k. They want to know what's my hourly rate, and let's say how many casual days do you have?
Yeah.
You know, can I listen to headphones at work?
Casual days,
right?
Just like time off. Time off,
you know, well. That or just dressing down, right?
Oh,
so
okay.
Just
where you don't go. Yeah, okay.
There's just so many different weird things right now that are important to different.
We get all the
different
casual
people.
days over here.
Yeah, yeah.
I gotta start putting that on the job post.
It's a selling point because you think about some of these folks have came from corporate America where there was no such thing as a casual day. You know, you were on and had to wear a tie and a suit all day every day. So it's just strange listening to what's important to people and what's not as far as the workforce go, and it changes real time sometimes, you know.
Yeah, I used to think I don't know, I've kind of let go of that a little bit, like worrying too much about that. Obviously there's time and a place where you gotta dress up a little bit.
Yeah,
but like one time I did feel bad. There was a cilsus event at the Illini Country Club, and I had forgot about it.
Oh,
so
no.
I was like I came there straight from work, and then I got there, and I was like, man, I'm in ripped jeans and a T-shirt. Everybody's all dressed up. I felt like an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, who's this guy coming in here thinking he could just come in all underdressed?
That's hilarious. But like a good customer service group, nobody said anything, right?
No,
yeah, see, there you go.
But still, you know, it's just funny.
Yeah, no. You feel out of place a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, but, you know. I was like, well, hopefully people just like, oh, that's Jukebox.
Sure.
No, that's funny. So you kind of dabbled on how you got connected with Express just a little bit. Are you from Springfield?
Not Springfield originally. I've been here 12 years now. Originally from Southern Illinois, Centralia. It's a little town by Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
Typically I say Centralia. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. So I have to say Mount Vernon. They're like, oh yeah, I've heard of Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think I've heard of Centralia before. I don't know if I've ever been there.
Yeah, it's small. Like I think 15,000 people or something.
Yeah.
Cornfields and a couple factories. There's a prison there. Other than that, that's about it. So.
And then when did you relocate to Springfield?
12 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I used to live a pretty different lifestyle, growing up, adolescent, even my early 20s, I was into partying, fast life, drugs and alcohol, So I actually paroled to Springfield 12 years ago from the Department of Corrections. Yeah. Like I said, just a whole different lifestyle, man.
I guess I've seen you post a little bit about that.
Yeah, I try to share it when it's when I can. I like to try to encourage other people and spread some hope that it doesn't always have to be that way, right? There's a way out. It just requires a lot of work and a lot of change. Like my situation, I literally had to change everything, and surround myself and connect with some good people. And a lot of the things that I did when I first began to change, I still do today, as far as the disciplines and things that I'm into. Consider myself like a spiritual person. I believe in God and try to live that way. And that's how I really got out of that old lifestyle.
Yeah, awesome.
I was incarcerated, and I'm pretty sure it was my first ever like sincere, genuine prayer. And I was like, God, if you're real, show me you're real. And that was 12 years ago.
Yeah.
So
wow. That's awesome, man. Not a lot of people can change like that. So, obviously I've, had, I think everybody at that age can get into that a little bit and whatnot. But I never had I could always see how someone could be super just live like that constantly. But
Sure.
I'd always just I was able to have that self-discipline that I couldn't, you know what I mean? I'm like, I can't be like this all the time. You know what I mean? But I could always just recognize, I could see the addiction,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, that's awesome, man, that you're able to fucking get through that. And
to your point, I mean, it's crazy. Some people, like you said, can dabble a little bit, maybe party on the weekends, and they're able to control it. And other people, it's just, and like you said, it just became a lifestyle for me, fast.
Did you find it was a lot of the people you were around? Or
absolutely. I mean, I look back at my younger years, I was always kind of attracted to the bad crowd, if you will, or the older guys. And
what about being in a small town?
I think that was part of it too.
Just bored. I see that. I feel like sometimes
it was kind of the way we grew up, drinking and smoking weed, and that just led to other things. And before you know it, it's like, oh man, I'm breaking the law, and, committing crimes. And it's just kind of like everybody around me was in that mode.
Yeah.
So
that's got to be hard to break away from a bunch of people that you've known for.
Yeah, well, it's crazy to think about how I used to live and how I live now, what I survived through, and looking back, and even thinking today, like most of the people that I ran around with and grew up with, like they're dead or they're in prison for a long time, because they didn't get out and they continued on that path. So, yeah, for every day I'm just grateful. I wake up with a beautiful wife and good job and nice house. So it's definitely a blessing for sure. But like I said, it's work. You just don't wake up one day and everything's good. Like it was a lot of making amends and trying to make things right, and because that's one thing too. You get in a jam, you get arrested or something, and you have great intentions and motives, but if there's no action that follows that, like nothing really changes. So I had to do a lot of soul searching and figure out, like, who am I? What do I want to be when I grow up? Like, what's my purpose? Because I didn't do any of that as, a teenager or anything.
Living,
so.
Crazy. Did so you came to Springfield on parole, you said?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And then how kind of you started just...
So
path
when I was in the Department of Corrections, like I said, I started going to church and ended up learning about a program called Transitional Prison Ministries, and it was a faith-based a halfway house, basically, right? So I hooked up with those guys. Don Hunt was involved. He's now passed away. Tom Hardy, who is still my mentor today, he was the president of that program, and it was a men's house, and you committed to 6 months, and basically they just helped you re-enter society, supported you, gave you everything you needed as far as support and direction and prayer and all that stuff. And when I got to Springfield, I didn't know about a service like Express, so I really just hit the bricks and started knocking on doors and applying at jobs. And obviously I had a criminal background, so it was hard. I think I put in 50 applications before I got an interview.
Really?
And my first job out of Department of Corrections was the Salvation Army. So they gave me a chance. I started working in their warehouse, sorting donations, like clothes and stuff. And about 5 months doing that, I was promoted to production supervisor.
Nice.
So responsibility came right away. I was over 5 stores and like 50 employees. So I really had to figure out how to manage people and conduct myself like a professional and become a leader pretty fast, So
did getting like 5 months, that's not really much time. It's just so, you must have been really just kind of nose down getting at it, and they must have saw something.
I was determined to, first, really the determination was I'm not going back to prison, right? I wanted to do something different. So, showing up early every day, doing extra, staying late, whatever I had to do, right, to become a good employee, I was willing to do all those things and more. Like I said, that position, the production supervisor, was vacant. So, it was there for me. I just had to... kind of earn it, right? Yeah. And it worked out great. And I serve on the board with the Salvation Army today. It's been like 10 years I've served with them on the board, and get to help other people from time to time. And so Salvation Army has always held a special place in my heart because they gave me a shot when nobody else would, right? So I did that. That's for awesome. Just over a year with the Salvation Army. And it was just time for a change. Like I think I kind of outgrew that a little bit, and some things changed with their leadership as well, which kind of helped me make my decision. But I actually ran into a guy from my hometown that was up here, and he was a manager at a Sprint store, and I ran into him at the mall or something. He's like, "Hey man, I'm hiring. If you know anybody looking to hire somebody to do sales." And I wasn't really interested, but again, I was pretty motivated for a change from the Salvation Army. I had done that for a time, and like I said, just kind of ready for something different. So I interviewed with Sprint, and they gave me a job. And
doing old cell phone sales?
Cell phones. I started in the cell phones when the when the Galaxy S2 came out. Yeah,
man, I had some buddies that did cell phone sales. They made a lot of money for a long time there. Yeah, and then I guess they've changed. What was it? Oh, like the commission, the way they did commission and stuff, and they said they just kind of started getting screwed. A lot of them told me, and But yeah, I remember when we were young, like they got out of college. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're like, they weren't even using their degrees. They're doing cell phone sales, making like $60,000. I was like,
Yeah,
dang.
if you're a hustler and like to, if you can multitask and you're motivated and driven, it's a lucrative opportunity. So yeah, I was around when like the iPhone 4 came out, and I just remember those days like it was all the rage, right? And now
everybody wants it.
Now it's just like everybody has a phone. But so I stayed with that. I stayed with Sprint for just over 7 years and became sales manager, had teams I was responsible for, helped out in other stores in like Peoria, and had a lot of success. We got national recognition few years in a row just for customer service and volume. My store originally was at the Town and Country Shopping Center near Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bitty Sprint store, and then we moved out north behind Dairy Queen. So it was just cool, Yeah, it was just neat be here in small town of Springfield, and like I say, we're getting national recognition for volume. We were doing a lot of cell phones, selling a lot of phones. So
that's awesome.
But met a lot of good people in those 7 years. Like I said,
learned a lot about
customer service, man. Like it was, it became apparent to me pretty early on, like these phones pretty much sell themselves, right? Most people know they need a phone. They're just trying to make a decision. So you really had to treat people right. And, that's kind of how that's how I coached my team and tried to lead my team was you do everything you can for the customer, because that's what's going to separate them from going online and buying their phone or coming to see you. Yeah. Like I said, there towards the end, it had just really served its purpose for me. A new wife and, things were changing with my personal life, and 60, 70, 80 hours a week is just a lot of work.
Sprint, that's what you're putting in?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, in that management position, there was just always a customer escalation or always somebody that there was just always something. You never had much downtime, and if it wasn't my store that needed attention, I was getting called to Peoria to help with the store reset up there, so it was just a lot. And but yeah, like I said, grateful for the opportunity, learned a whole lot, met a lot of good people. It's pretty neat looking back, like some of the relationships that I have today with Express in the community actually started at Sprint,
Nice.
So. And I didn't know, but good thing I treated those people right, because it could have bit me in the long run. So
while you're at Sprint, then did you just eventually start applying places, or you got connected with?
My mentor, like I said, I was complaining one evening probably, and I'm ready for something different. And I kind of had an opportunity in front of me, but it was with another retail setting, and I'm just like, man, I don't want to go from retail to retail.
Right.
And
retail's tough, man.
Yeah.
Like holidays and
no weekends, like you're working the weekends.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
On the podcast with Steve, he mentioned, serving and how his mom, served and whatnot. And I was like, man, I never really thought about it. But what better is, that's a great example of like really like your pay almost completely being based on customer service. Because how you're treating that customer, how you're handling them, obviously there's some stuff out of your control with the kitchen and stuff like that, but I never really thought about that. I was like, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, what a great concept. So kind of in that same vein, in the retail setting, I knew that I depended on my customers, right? So I'm always trying to give them a great experience so they can refer their friends and family to me, right? And that's just something like the owner at the time, I was able to learn a lot from him when I started. And, I just remember him always saying, you can't bank on the door swings. Like, you can't wait on foot traffic. Like, you got to go out and find customers. Yeah. So that's really whenever I, started learning about social media and what that looks like, and trying to be active in that world, just to attract people, right? But yeah, it was time for a change. I was venting to Tom about I'm ready to go. And
how old were you about at that point?
4 years ago, so 32.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was the other thing. I'm like, man, do I want to be like old working in like a retail store?
Right,
to me,
right.
I'm thinking, man, I don't want to be 40 like working at Sprint still.
Yeah.
So all those things are running through my head, and Tom Hardy, he knows Jim Britton, they're buddies, and I had never heard of Express, and I went and Tom set me up an appointment with Jim. I went to talk to Jim, and I don't know, through 2 or 3 different interviews with different people at Express. And I didn't really know what was going on at first. I was kind of like, man, Tom sent me to a temporary company, know, because in my mind I'm thinking Express is like a temporary agency. I had no idea, like they were a full service employment agency, like they do everything. And it took a couple meetings with them to really like, wait a minute, I think they might be considering me for something here. So it was neat. Was able to put in notice. I gave 2 weeks, and then the owner's like, I really need 4 if you could. And he had been so good to me. I told Express I really need 4 weeks to really shore things up here. And me and my old boss still have a great relationship today. That store closed, so it was kind of ironic.
Now it's all T-Mobile.
Yeah, all T-Mobile. But even before like my burnout, corporate was just really pushing on us frontline workers to educate our customers about online and the app, and so some writing on the wall there, right?
Trying
and
to
then
get people to order online.
Yeah,
it's like, wait a minute,
I need people. Yeah, I need people coming in. So all that, it was just kind of a perfect storm where I was hip to what a change needed to happen. And fast forward, like I was with Express like 2 years, and then that store closed. So it all worked out how it was supposed to.
It was good you had the foresight, see what was going on there. A lot of people just
go down with the
working
ship.
They're not like thinking about it.
Yeah.
Well, you said you were there for 7 years.
Yeah.
A lot of change in the
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you saw these phones go from, crazy, and it kept happening, right?
Yeah.
And it went, I just remember when everything went from like the 2-year agreements to this leasing, and like people just were like so reluctant to it, and you're charging me what? And you like, couldn't. You're paying for it either way.
It's shit to try to explain.
It is,
to people
and there's some people like the senior citizens, like there was no explaining it to them, like they just knew they were getting ripped off, And so I just remember that, like, it was kind of icing on the cake where I'm like, I got to get out of this. This is terrible. I hate it. So
that's weird.
Yeah. I started with Express, and I'm not going to lie, at first, I'm like, oh, man, I think I made a bad choice.
Really?
Just because I had been so used to kind of that fast sales process and that instant gratification that came with retail, to where this is very much the long game and about the relationship and really, just providing.
Did you come in
the
with
value,
this, like your position now? Or
yeah,
was it different
I
first?
started. Like I said, the fundamentals of my job is outside sales. I have a territory I'm responsible for. I do so much call activity a week. So yeah, but like I said in the beginning, I just was not seeing the fruits of my labor, if you will, right? I was doing everything they told me to do, buying into the system, doing the processes, but nothing was really happening. So that was 2018, and that went on for 4 or 6 months, but I just kept doing what they were telling me to do. And 2019, I received top 50, which is international. Like I was in the top 50 for all the outside sales reps for Express, which had never happened in the Springfield franchise.
That's awesome.
They've been open 40 years, so
it's starting to see all the stuff, the work you're putting in. Paying off.
Yeah, it was very rewarding and encouraging to know that it wasn't. I just wasn't doing a bunch of activity and not getting anything for it. Right, I was actually helping a lot of people, and it just. In this world, no doesn't mean no, right? Just not right now most of the time, right? Because as things change with people, you never know when something unexpected is going to happen, right? And the person you count on dearly leaves. And if the timing's right, and I've done a good job of explaining our services and staying in touch with you, sometimes we become an option for that company, So, yeah, it's neat, man.
Yeah, that is cool. Did, caught up over here. What I feel like, what kind of stuff do they do? Because like you said, you got an award or whatever for top 50. So, yeah. Do you guys have like regular conference? I feel like I see you going to stuff all the time.
I'm going to Chicago. We'll be in Chicago Thursday and Friday. Primarily Express has 4 events a year geared around leadership and continued education. There's award ceremonies in there. They're real good about celebrating and recognizing their people,
Cool.
all different levels, from volume to gross margin, dollars, and just all kinds of different things. But yeah, the top 50 is, let's see, there's probably, 1,600 people like me all around the world, because we have offices in like South Africa, New Zealand.
Really?
So to be in the top 50 was, it's a big deal, right? So that's what I did in 2019. just missed it in 2020 and 2021. Like I was 56 and
Barely.
then 54. But, you know, had a lot of fun, having a lot of fun still, helping a lot of people. So it's all good. But, yeah, they're a great company. You know,
it's cool they have those, like, kind of,
yeah,
you know, little things to strive for, though.
Yeah, it's all about the people, man, and not just the people we serve, but they do such a good job with these events of really pouring into us and helping us, you know, kind of know what's coming with laws and different things and how to, you know, after these conferences, we come back so refreshed and energized to share something new with the company or the community or our internal team. So, you know, because not everybody gets to go, right? There's somebody has to operate the business while we're gone. So typically it's leaders or managers that'll go and then they'll take good notes and get material. But every once in a while, you know, there's an event for different level employees at Express. So
cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did what was I just gonna? Oh, I was gonna say another reason I wanted to have you on is because I feel like you do a pretty good job of harnessing, you know, your social media.
Sure.
You know, I see a lot of professionals out there that I don't know what you would say. They just don't use it really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're on there. They'll like something or get on there once in a while and share like a personal photo or something, but they're not like putting out there constantly like who they are, what they do, or trying to help or educate or stuff like that. And I just I always appreciated seeing you do that because I don't think people understand how much that really helps in the. I mean, obviously you don't want that to just be your whole freaking thing all the time, but
no, but that's a great point, Lo, and thank you. That's cool that you know recognize that and appreciate that, which you would, you know, obviously that's what you do.
Try to pay attention to that stuff a lot.
You know, again, just in the retail world, I got into that by trial and error, like just learning what works and what doesn't. And
when you were at Sprint, did you like get like some pretty good? Did you use social media then, trying to get like sales and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, that's how we drove our sales and our events. You know, we were big on like customer recognition, customer events, right, and trying to just create a buzz around, hey, come to my store versus, you know, there's other stores in town, come to my store. So just really making it about the whole experience, and absolutely social media was so big. You know, you can just talk to such a big audience all at once, right, instead of picking up the phone or sending an email. And if we're being honest, I mean, that's where people spend their time, right? And, you know, kind of the nuts and bolts of it, like I said, through trial and error, I've just learned that as long as you're consistent, you'll start to build an audience, right? Obviously, content matters and engagement matters, but it starts with consistency.
It's funny you say that. That's what I tell all of our clients. I'm like, consistency is key.
Yeah, it's so.
And that's why we do a lot of times, like, we end up taking over like pretty much their social media because unfortunately, just running a business, it's hard to post all the time. You just don't have time to manage. You know, we always say we manage your social media so you can manage your business.
I love that. I love that. It's so true because it's so important. I mean, and it's becoming so even more important and robust and complex. You know, with the metaverse and everything. And I just feel like so many individuals and companies, I mean, you know, that's I'm preaching to the choir, but miss so much opportunity and so much market share because they're not even relevant in that world whatsoever.
Or they don't adapt and change.
And then it's even sadder because I don't do social media. Well, somebody's telling a story, whether it's you or not. You know, when you look at some of these Google ratings.
The people that don't do it that are older probably have a super interesting story. You know, that's one of the things I like about just bringing people on here, because everyone's got a different story to hear where they came from and what happened. And it's just, you know, there's something to learn from everybody. Absolutely. You know, so it's pretty neat to just hear what people have to say. No, I love it. You know, just trying to be consistent, trying to be real on there. You know, just try to add value. Like, well, back to Gary Vee, like he's always big on that. Like, what's in it for them, you know, and that's kind of my mindset whenever I'm creating a post or something, whether it's telling a story about somebody that was helped or, you know, celebrating somebody else. What's in it for that individual, your viewers, right, your audience. Love what you do, you know, love what you guys do, and Gary Vee, you know, and he was I started following him, at least when I first, let's see, when would that have been, like 2015, I kind of started following him. 2016, right around there. And like him and this one other guy, Casey Neistat, he was just a YouTuber, but just he made a video every single day.
Yeah.
And posted it. And it was like he shot their vlogs, but he shot them like little movies. And he'd set the camera up and then go back and like walk towards it and stuff like that. And I just got so much inspiration from him and Gary Vee that's really what everything I started doing was based around, just like what I'm learning from those two and just applying it to, locally here and in different ways and whatnot. And it was just such a good combination of everything I loved. You know what I mean? Between creating, business, marketing, video production, just between the two of them, it was just like everything.
Yeah, they do a good
super
job.
Cool.
I love it, man.
But especially back then, like, Gary was just so much information that, like, you know what I mean, people didn't really think about or know about or whatever. So it was just good to hear that stuff and know it. And, then when you're in interactions, you have that kind of, I don't know, you're just used to talking about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Not talking about it, but you've heard it, you know what I mean? So you can talk about it and be knowledgeable on it.
Sure. No, absolutely. I feel like, people that they want to be active, they just don't know, right? Like, right. What do I say?
What do I do?
I talk to
they overthink it.
They do. They're intimidated by it. They're intimidated by it. I was just going to say, I talk to so many different people at different levels, and sometimes just people are intimidated by it. They overthink it. They overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
And it's pretty easy once you start doing it. Obviously, there's a little bit of education that goes along with it, right? But some people just refuse to do it, right? Yeah. And, their brand suffers because of it,
That's why sometimes it's fun when we work with smaller businesses.
Sure.
Because, the larger ones, there's more...
Yeah.
Stuff,
more depth.
Yeah, there's just so much, things you have to jump through to get approvals and stuff. But some of the smaller ones, it's just like they just kind of let you do your thing, and they're not as worried about it. So it's kind of we tend to do more like fun stuff, I guess. It seems like
there's not so many layers with the small to medium
loopholes you got to jump through or whatever. Yeah, it's it makes it a little easier too.
That's our bread and butter as well, Andrew. The small to medium sized local owned companies. Like when you start getting into the large, like you said, now there's proposals and now it's going out for bid, and
right.
It's just like, man, we're just trying to help you. Like, why do we have to do all? So no, I completely understand that and think the same way. Like, yeah, and I know, like Tracy with the customer service board, she's seen tremendous increase from partnering with you. And
we love Springfield Running Center. Shout out.
Shout out Tracy.
No, it's interesting too, because just like getting connected with her, just how it all like flowed through. I always think stuff happens for a reason.
Absolutely.
Like whatever's going to happen is going to happen. You know what I mean? And there's not really much change in that. And it was funny because I had somebody on that had done the fastest known time on the Ozark Trail.
Oh wow!
And he was a runner. Okay. And then did I have him on first or Tracy on first?
You had Tracy, and then Tracy recommended.
Oh, that's what it was. How did we get? Somebody recommended Tracy though, didn't they? Or was it Lindsay?
Lindsay, her coworker.
Yeah, that's what it was. So Ryan knows Lindsay that works with her, and she was like, "Oh, you guys should have Tracy on or whatever." And we're like, "Oh, okay, let's have her on."
Yeah.
So we had her on, and then that led into a couple other podcasts. But her coming on, we kind of built a little bit of a relationship there, and then down the road, I never do this to like sell people anything, you know what I mean? But down the road, she didn't know about what we did, but she kind of learned about it after that, and then down the road we were able to connect to work together. But then just like her, like introducing between her and Colleen Stone at Habitat, just connecting with everybody else at cilsus and stuff. It's just funny how things kind of flow and the relationships you build.
It's a neat community. Like everybody's connected, right? It seems like everybody before you know it. So yeah, I love that, man. It's cool. I love it.
Yeah. They always say like, what is it? Like 3 degrees of separation or whatever.
Springfield's a big, small city. It's like, for sure.
I'm like 1. Like if I don't know him, he does.
Yeah.
Or something, you know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like somebody usually always knows through like one other person.
We're so fortunate to have that community too. Like I say it all the time when I talk with people outside of Springfield, like we have something special here and it's unique really. How many people really are serious and intentional about helping other people succeed and working together and partnering, and I don't know if that's because of the capital and the hospitality groups we have or, but Desiree Logston on the board from Bunn, she says it a lot, now I just forgot how she says it, but something about all ships rise, like, and I just feel like that's so true with the community we have and the different groups we have, whether it's the chamber or CILSA or Local First. They all just really want to help each other. And a lot of times, like what you just shared with Tracy, it's not that they don't have a need for your service. They just need some more information or time to be educated on it. Or understand it.
Yeah. A lot of people don't understand. They don't even know. They're like, oh, I just thought you guys did videos or whatever,
Yeah.
And then we get to talking or whatever. And I'm excited about our open house just because I think there's going to be a lot of people that come in that start to understand more of what's going on.
And you guys have such a great space. Like,
appreciate it.
Something to be proud
speaking
of and show off.
Hiring, that was part of with building this space out. Like I wanted a place that people wanted to be at.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, you said it, like they're looking at, the casual days, what's going on, what are the benefits there. We just actually got it came in the mail today, we opened it up, but I got it's a big 4-person arcade thing that connects to the TV. It's got like 20,000 games on it. I was like, all right, now we know how part of our lunchtime is going to be spent.
That's right, man. All those things are enticing to people, and it's attractive. That's what I'm sharing with companies now. Any perks or incentives, if you don't have any, you're in trouble. And what you do have, it may be small to you, but you got to tell that story, and you got to share that with your people and make sure their friends and family know about it, because they're your best recruiters, right? If they're happy and they're here. And I don't want to let the cat out of the bag too much, because that's what we do professionally, but it's really can be that simple for companies that are struggling is, have your people happy, engage your people, make sure they're fulfilled, and they'll work for you, right? So,
what is it? You ever watch Marcus Lemonis, The Prophet?
Oh yeah.
I haven't watched it in a while.
Yeah,
I think
me
he
neither.
changed stations or something.
I think so.
But
Yeah,
I love that show. He was always people, process, and product.
Yeah. Or
service or whatever your product is, and the 3 Ps or whatever. And that was a great show. I love that show. But yeah, he just comes. It's so funny though, because he comes in and it's just like the stuff seems so logical, but it's like people want to sit and argue with them about something. But that's true. I mean, those are basically the 3. If you get those 3 things right, and we're actually right now like overhauling our process a little bit, and it's like kind of been stressful for everybody. And I said, I'm like, look, it's going to be more stressful before it gets easier, but we got to make this change. I think at least, you know what I mean? And I'm not tied to anything. I'm like, if this doesn't work, we're going to change it again.
Fluid,
like, let's just figure it out. And one of the nice things about being a, small business, we can make changes as needed and
that's
try
to
keep our customer service top notch as much as we can.
That's the world we live in. It's changing every day, right?
And if you're not willing to change, you're going to.
Well, and, AD, Aaron, our last keynote at CILSA, he said it beautifully. The consumers have so many options, right? And they're savvy.
Yeah.
So, if you have a clunky process or how do you engage your customer, they're probably not going to do it, and they're going to go somewhere else. So, I love that. We have to eliminate the hurdles and the obstacles for our customers to use our services or products and make it easy on them. Because Amazon's easy. Yeah. Right? I mean, just for instance. So.
Yeah, man, they've been, even with returns and everything, it's crazy. It's streamlined.
Killing it. Food truck, music for the open house. You were starting to talk about that a little bit.
Oh yeah. We're gonna have food. No food trucks. We're grilling out. We're grilling out. Free food for everybody.
Even better.
I was thinking about that. Food trucks and stuff. And then I was like, I just want everybody to be able to eat, drink, and have a good time, not to pay for anything. So I was like, we're just gonna. My buddy I asked him to, but he said he would. I'm a longtime friend, man. I've been friends with him since kindergarten. So he said he'd help me out.
That's great.
And grill and. He's going to man the grill and cook up and
give back a little bit.
Yeah,
that's
it's
awesome,
kind of
man.
Appreciation, for everybody.
Sure.
It should be fun though. Fun DMC. I wish you could make it.
Yeah, I absolutely planned on it would be if I wasn't in Chicago for sure. But
it's all good. Yeah. With Aaron Davis though, the whole time I was listening to his speech or whatever you call his talk, his keynote. I was like, this is an amazing keynote, because he could literally spin this from customer service to sales to marketing to anything, because he just talks about being able to adapt and change and not to be stuck on things.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, that applies to, you could apply that to anything. I was like, this is a brilliant keynote he's got put together here.
Yeah, simple stuff, practical stuff, hard to execute, right? I mean, we kind of said it earlier, like we'll overcomplicate things, or worry about how it looks or sounds instead of just being genuine and authentic and like delivering to the customer. Like, so no, I loved it as well. I've heard a lot of keynotes over the years, and by far that was one of the best. So Aaron Davis presentation.
Yeah, he was good. Check him out for sure.
Yeah.
How do you guys usually go about finding people for cilsus?
For keynotes? Yeah. So Capital City Speakers Bureau.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they've been our partner since the inception of.
That's who he kept shouting out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they do a great job. They know the culture and our members, right? So they'll. We usually pick keynotes a year in advance, right? So through COVID, it started with Zoom calls, right? So we might start with a dozen keynotes and just kind of process of elimination, and maybe table some. Okay, this won't be good for this year, but we want to experience them at another time. So we're just always keeping that pipeline full of potential speakers. And Aaron was a standout from the beginning, really. And obviously we went with the right one. I didn't hear anybody have anything bad to say about his delivery. So, but yeah, Capital City Speakers Bureau.
And that's a group here locally.
Yeah, right.
Never heard of them.
Yeah, right behind Brailer Automotive over there.
Okay.
Yeah, been around for a long time. Work with companies and organizations all over all over the United States, actually.
Really?
Yeah, and they have a great brochure or a great network of speakers and different price points and different whether it's leadership or customer service or coach, whatever your thing is.
It's amazing the different things people. Actually, the businesses in Springfield, I'm always amazed by that. I just don't even know about.
It's crazy.
Like we did a video for this company not too long ago that like is a software company, and they produce all kinds of software and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they had us do a video because they were trying to get this big job for this big thing in New York. And it's like, really? Like, you guys are doing that? And they're like, yeah, we have like 100 employees. And I'm like, really? Wow. They're like, not just in Springfield. Again, it's kind of all over or whatever. Yeah. But they had quite a few in Springfield, and it was just, it was interesting, And then, and then was it somebody there? Somebody else was telling me about somebody local that does like, is it builds, or maybe they manage the building of like all the Walmarts or something crazy, something with Walmart. It was it's just like these random companies that are making like millions of dollars a year that you're like, what the hell?
We have so many unique like headquarters, like you think about Bun, which is like a global company.
Yeah, that's crazy. Global right there. Yeah.
Mellow Cream. Mellow Cream ships donuts all over the world, right? MJ Kellner, we have one, if not the leading manufacturer of fishing lures right here in Springfield, Illinois.
Really?
They serve Bass Pro and Walmart and shit. Yeah, Cast Industries. Most people don't know about Cast Industries.
Yeah, I guess I feel like somebody has to.
It's on North Street, on the same road as Masco.
Cool.
So back there behind Casey's. But yeah, just so many unique, headquarters here in Springfield. Not to mention our government and state jobs, but also our leading healthcare. And I mean, gosh, we have one of the leading healthcare systems. Between Memorial, the clinic, SIU, and HSHS.
Well, Steve said something when he was on that I never thought about really, but between the hospitals and the government jobs, the economy is always going to be pretty stable here. I never really thought about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because those jobs are pretty much not ever going anywhere for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, a long time ago, obviously, they moved a lot of jobs out of the city. But there's always city jobs here, and there's always, or city jobs here. Definitely city jobs, but some of the state jobs, I guess, they moved out of city.
The state and federal opportunities are crazy. And then the healthcare, I mean, it's just ever changing, right?
Yeah.
And they're always adding to and taking away, and sometimes that's where a service like Express can really help out a company like that, to where we have a service line flexible staffing, so it's for your peaks and your valleys. So if for the next 90 days you need 30 more people, but you don't want to add them to your core.
Interesting.
A service like Express comes alongside that company, works out all the pricing, and then recruits. And the good thing is those people aren't surprised. They know what they're signing up for.
Right. They know
And a
they're
lot
there
of
for
times,
that. Yeah.
after that 90-day contract or whatever, we have something else for them that is more in line with what they're looking for. So, yeah, just had to throw that in there.
Yeah,
a little
no,
bit.
for sure. Plug.
Plug.
No, that's what it's all about, though. You know, trying to educate people on that, because that is interesting. Because that does happen a lot. You know what I mean? I mean, we're pretty steady. Although recently we've had a couple clients that are like, that we're doing some different things with, where our summer is going to be a lot busier for a couple months. But actually, one of the people that is probably going to be helping a lot with that is one of the interns that you connected with us.
Yeah,
which
we're
was awesome.
so happy that worked out. You know, whenever she shared with Taylor and Deidre, a couple of my recruiters on the admin team, what she was looking for, I overheard it and I sent Taylor a text. I said, "Ootbox," you know, because everything she described, like, I knew it would probably line up with what you were. Yeah. Hopefully, you had a spot. Was my hope, you know. So.
Yeah, and our internship, it's just kind of the whole doing an internship has kind of been random here with us. You know what I mean? So I've been trying to structure it more, and getting in here now in this new building. I'm like, all right, we need a more structured thing, and luckily we have these couple projects that are going to be going on that I could really like put them on something where they can work on it, get experience in it, and see the fruits of that as their internship here goes. As they're here, those events and whatnot should hopefully grow, and you know, by the end of the
that's great,
event thing.
We're happy that worked out, and happy for you guys and her. I mean, you know, what a great opportunity for her.
Well, that's a good example of somebody from another town was looking for a position here, and luckily you guys had a place there that was able to connect her with, through you guys here, to a business.
Yeah, exactly right. It happens all the time. So often, you know, we get lumped into the category of that temporary agency. You know, it's something we're always fighting against with our marketing, our branding, and our education, right? Like, yeah, we have some temporary jobs, but we also have some internships. We have some direct hire. We have a little bit of everything. We're an employment agency, not a temporary agency. So that's, you know, often what I'm up against as I'm out selling or educating the companies in Springfield, and also Lincoln and Central Illinois. Really, we touch a lot of areas, you know, being Bloomington and Jacksonville. We cover all those counties in between and whatnot. So yeah, I love it, man. I love helping people. You know, you never know where that person's at, you know, and how, you know, we all spend a lot of time at work, right? So we just really try not only to match good people to the companies, but also really understand what that person is looking for. You know, could we have sent that girl, you know, the intern, anywhere, right? She was willing to work, but she wouldn't have been fulfilled. It wasn't what she asked for. It wasn't what she was seeking on, you know. But what the opportunity you had was what she was seeking. So again, just an example of how good we really want to listen to understand and match that need, not just put a person in a job, right? Really try to figure out, okay, what makes you happy? You know, it's not all about the money. What type of work do you enjoy? What don't you enjoy? Right? So yeah, it's like matchmaking. You know, it is. It's matchmaking. But
that's how have you? How has it been like? I know there's like obviously a lot of websites people go to for like hiring or whatnot, but obviously you're kind of through you guys, you're getting a very more personalized experience. Do you consider them competition, or is it? Well,
you know, if you've ever used an online service in that regard, you kind of know that experience. It's not always ideal, right? A lot of times, those services, you know, you can check boxes, and next thing you know, you have an office assistant position up, and you're getting cooks applying, right? So
definitely
again, to the point,
have experienced.
It's just to the point of it's personable, it's customized.
I've literally had to write on there, do not apply if you're not submitting a portfolio. Don't do it.
So just really, like you said, personable, customized, and the people that we introduce to our companies are finalists. Really, at that point, when we're introducing people to the companies,
you're not just going to introduce somebody you don't think's going to be.
Yeah, they have the skills, the qualities, and experience you're looking for to add to your team or whatever the need is. Now, it really just boils down to, do you get along with that person? Are they a good fit for your team? Because that's that's the other component, right? That's the other dynamic. They can look great on paper, have everything you're looking for from an academic standpoint or experience standpoint, but if they don't mesh and gel with your team, man, now you got a bigger problem on your hands, right? Because you're adding I
get worried about that every time we hire somebody.
It's scary. I mean, gosh.
Especially when you got a good kind of thing going.
Yeah, man. Next thing you know, morale's down. Your key people are calling in and missing work because there's a bad apple on the tree, So, man. In addition to skills, qualities, and experience, culture is such a big thing that we really try to help companies understand, maybe a second interview is called for, right? I know you like them, but that's and that's where, again, sometimes like our service, the evaluation hire can really make a lot of sense because you're not committing to them, and they're not committing to you. Kind of a way we've kind of fought against that is with the manufacturers. So they need so many people so fast, right? They have such a big need for head count. We do pre-employment tours with those people. So we fill up, as many people as they need on the tours. We try to get as many bodies as they can in the door, and then let those applicants see the operation before they commit, right? And it alleviates some fallout. It's not it's not a safeguard to alleviate all your turnover or whatnot. But some people are right there on the tour. They're like, nope. This isn't for me, and that's good. That's good, right? Yeah. So that's one way that we're able to partner with companies. That's awesome, man. But the online deal is it is what it is. It's not always user friendly too. That's the other thing. Like sometimes it can be counterproductive to getting your needs met. Right. We've all kind of threw up an ad on Facebook, and you're like, why'd I do this? So sometimes that can be the same result with like the Indeeds or
for sure
or whatever.
And they don't even let you target for employment on Facebook.
Not anymore. Yeah, they changed a lot of that, man. So it's ever changing world. We have an app, we have a website. The app's pretty neat, actually. You can download it and type in keywords, and it'll show you what we have open in that area. It can, not all of our jobs are on the app, right? Sometimes we work with companies, and maybe they're eliminating somebody and looking to replace them, and it's got to be a confidential search, right? So nothing's advertised, and I just share that because sometimes we have a job for an individual.
Don't think you're looking for a job if it might be available even though it's not on the app.
That's exactly right. Yeah, and maybe it's not available now, but that's the other thing about our network. Being in business so long, 40 years now in this market, we know a lot of companies and a lot of owners. So even if we don't have a quote unquote open job order or an open position,
stuff's happening.
We're able to call, like with this intern example, right? I know the types of people you're looking for.
And I didn't have anything posted.
You didn't have anything posted, but it worked out great. So same thing applies with like an accountant or an executive director or a manager, right? We're able to market that individual. And the good thing about the companies we work with, you're not competing for interview times or space. Like most of the companies we work with, we let them know we have an applicant. They meet our people because they trust us and they value our service, right? So that's the other thing that can be discouraging to job seekers is they're like, I've applied to that place 3 times. Nobody ever called me back. A lot of times it's not intentional on that company's side. They're overloaded or they got other things on their plate. So we can streamline that for the job seeker in a lot of cases. So
well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What? All right, kind of to wrap things up here. What is the hardest part of everything that you do over there at Express? Usually, I do like the hardest part of owning a small business. Yeah, you got a little different scenario here. I have a feeling I know what the answer is, but let's see what you have to say.
Well, I kind of so my wife's a small business owner, so I get to help with. What's
she do?
She's a 4th generation jeweler, so RLT jewelry. My wife makes keepsakes and specializes in like precious stones and Stout and Lauer.
My aunt does that.
Yeah. So, but I would say the hardest thing for me individually is just the disappointment. You on both sides. Sometimes things don't. When people is your product, right? You deal with disappointments. People let you down. People make bad decisions. Yeah. Both applicants and job seekers and companies, right? Gotcha. Where sometimes companies end an individual instead of coaching them or investing in them, and you're like, man, Susie's a great gal, give her one more chance, and you just can't control that, right? And then same thing can be said for the job seeker, where you've seen this person grow in a capacity or be reliable, dependable, and then they're not. You're like, oh man, Tommy, you were doing great, So just the disappointment, I would say, is probably the hardest thing, and it's just one of those things you can't control. We just keep doing the best we can to try to help people and help companies, and leave the results up to them. We like to believe that we set people up to succeed and set companies up to succeed. It takes a lot of work to do both of those things. But yeah, by far, I'd say that's the hardest thing that we deal with on a regular basis is just a disappointment. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Yeah,
and like
absolutely.
I said, it's been awesome getting to know you even before now. I think what you guys are doing over there is obviously a major need, and I hope some people got more educated on that. And I think you just have an awesome story, man.
Yeah,
That's
thanks,
cool. Just being able to change, going through what you did and being who you were and recognizing that you needed to change or you were going to end up dead or in prison.
That's right. Yeah.
And I just think that's awesome, man, when somebody can recognize that and do that, because I can't imagine like the challenge that goes into that, both mentally and just it's just crazy. So that's super cool, and definitely have a lot of respect for you being able to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for having me. I obviously think a lot of you and what you guys have going on. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'd love to come back if I could sometime.
Always, definitely.
Yeah.
What's the best spot to check out Express?
Just expresspros.com.
Okay.
We're on Facebook, LinkedIn. Michael Thomas with Express Employment.
All right. And then also CILSA. Check it
Yeah,
out.
Central
if you guys are
Illinois.
interested in any business, even people.
Yeah.
People can just join.
Yeah,
right?
we have members, everybody from front-facing, cash register people, cashiers, I guess is the word, to servers, all the way up to CEOs and owners of companies. And that's what's one of the neat dynamics about CILSA is our members are made up of everything, every walk of life you can think of as far as employment and whatnot. And people often ask me what's special or different about CILSA, and I really think it's individuals come hoping to retain something to take back.
Yeah.
As far as the customer service goes, right? Versus some other organizations, sometimes networking, you're just in it for what you can get. I feel like when we come to CILSA events, we all come looking to glean something to take back to our team. So.
Yeah, I kind of like it's almost like the networking part of it's a secondary thing,
Right.
It's not so much focused on, but you're getting the knowledge from the speakers or
the inspiration,
inspiration stuff. Yeah,
absolutely.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, Mike. It was great having you. And what the conference was? It's not awards this Friday. Is it awards?
We leave Thursday morning. It's a sales summit. Yeah, we have a few awards in front of us.
Okay.
Like I say, we had our best year last year. Thank you very much, Springfield.
Do you know if you've
Illinois.
won anything yet?
We have a pretty good idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good luck on that. If
historically,
you are not
we've always
100% sure.
historically we've always been somewhere in the top 10 of franchises.
That's awesome.
The last few years we've inched up into the top 5 nationally. So
cool.
Pretty big deal. We have a great team, Andrew, and obviously a great community. So a lot of support. So
that's awesome, man. Good to hear. All right. Well, thanks again, and thanks everybody.
Thank you.